Right, so we are live in Parliament this afternoon because the House is sitting for the next 2 days, that's today and tomorrow, Wednesday. This is because the majority side triggered the relevant portions in the 1992 Constitution with signatures from at least 15 members of Parliament. The reason why the Speaker had to force the House back into session, but they are not sitting in the Chamber of Parliament because the Chamber itself is undergoing some kind of renovation work. Let me take you live to Parliament now because so much is happening this afternoon. Kwaku Asante is our parliamentary correspondent. Kwaku joins us via phone. So Kwaku, first walk us through the key business that is on the floor this afternoon, the reason why members had to abandon their holiday and then are back in the chamber. Yes, Kwaku, we can hardly hear you. If you can reposition yourself.
Hello, Alfred.
Yes, I can hear you now. So I wanted to understand the key business that is before the House this afternoon.
Well, Alfred, in that notice that the majority sent to the Speaker of Parliament asking for this recall, they called for a number of issues to be discussed with, in particular, the $250 million energy sector recovery program loan, one, another $250 million IDA financing loan, two, some tax waivers that have been on the other paper, mounting to about $350 million for years now, and some bills. The Speaker of Parliament says he has considered all these matters and he has come to the conclusion that the two loans and the tax waivers are the only issues he's going to allow the House deal with today and tomorrow as they sit for this recall. All the other matters that have been raised are not issues they are going to go in. The House has gone on and on about a lot of issues.
But before you go on, the Speaker is clear on the issues that he will allow the House to deliberate. This is not in his bosom. The leader of government business on the floor will have to tell the Speaker the business they want to prosecute. Does it lie in the Speaker's mouth to say that I will allow only these businesses?
Well, yes, according to the Speaker of Parliament, he is the one who admits business, and that the dictates of the specific standing orders are clear, that the business that the majority or whoever is requesting that the emergency they must call must be urgent in nature. He does not consider all the others that he has rejected as urgent. So, of course, the majority side did signal that even on the business statement that was presented a while ago, the Speaker of Parliament says they are not going to work with that. They are going to work with only 3 businesses that he has admitted. First, $250 million energy sector recovery program loan that was rejected in July of this year, that the majority is seeking to rescind and have another vote on that loan. Another $250 million IDA facility, as well as the tax waiver. The Speaker says, in his opinion, those are the only matters that are of urgent nature and no other business to be considered.
And the Speaker did not hide his displeasure with the manner in which the House had to be recalled.
Can you come again?
Yes, I'm asking. I mean, in the Speaker's introductory remarks, he was clearly unhappy with the fact that he had to recall Parliament.
Well, yes. In fact, he did accuse the majority side of bad things. He said the majority had claimed that when he attended the House Senate meeting on the 30th of July, he had done so unilaterally. He said that is not the case. He had conversations with both the minority and majority leaders. There was an agreement that this was exactly when the House was going to go on break. As he has been taken aback by this report, and he's been accusing them of bad things. If you have that instead, you can listen to the Speaker of Parliament accusing the majority leader and his side of bad things.
In fact, we'll come back to Parliament to understand what really is happening on the floor, because these key matters are of urgent nature to the government. That's according to the majority leader. But for now, let me take you live to the NDC headquarters. The party is addressing the media on some key issues contained in their 2024 manifesto. The Member of Parliament for Northton, Samuel Okujeto-Ablakwa, is speaking on good governance.
These amorphous and nebulous and totally useless positions are going to be removed, and he's going to run the most efficient and lean government in the history of the country. The other thing that has excited a lot of Ghanaians under the governance thematic area of the manifesto is ORA, Operation Recover or Loot. President Mahama is saying that the next NDC government is going to ruthlessly and uncompromisingly inquiries and forensic audits with the view of recovering all the loot. So we are serving a clear notice to all those looters who think that they are going to keep the loot. The Ghanaian people are saying that they are going to vote for the NDC so that we will recover all the loot. And I can quickly run through a few of the obvious targets. Those who are keeping our $2 million under the guise of coming to deliver a sky train, and you heard the chief whip talk about it, and failed to deliver, they should very quickly, as soon as the election results are announced, if they don't want oral officials, Operation Recover All Loot officials, and I'm lobbying hard to be part of that team. With Basitali, you know, as my deputy. We are lobbying very hard. If they don't want any trouble with the Ghanaian people, they should just prepare to refund our $2 million for that very dubious SkyTrain project. You are even struggling with your railways, land, you are nowhere. And then suddenly, you say you are moving into the skies. Just a scam. Then those shonky sheikhs who came here, that they are coming to give us Sputnik V vaccines. And the former health minister, Jimamenu, said COVID, he was so confused, he wasn't thinking straight. So he allowed those shonky sheikhs to deceive him. They should prepare. Our $2 million will have to be refunded. As to how a Russian-made vaccine, we could be roaming, the Akufo-Addo government could be roaming in Dubai for sheikhs to provide those vaccines, remains a mystery. Then Carrie Summers, who is keeping our $6 million under that National Cathedral scam, he should also prepare to refund that money. Ejapa, $12 million. Poalugu, $11.9 million. Motor Angels, $2.5 million. And all of those SML, the ambulance spare parts, the president's daughters and their business partners and all those people, they should just better, you know, and if they start negotiating now to refund the monies, even before the election, it will really, really help them. We are passionate about Operation Recover All Loot. We mean every part of this. Every single letter has meaning. Don't forget that it will also affect the land looters, those who have engaged in state capture, and I'll be coming to that. We are also pledging that we will launch a forensic audit and an inquiry into the National Cathedral scandal and seek broad consensus on what should happen to what is described now as the world's most expensive pit. We are talking about over 339 million Ghana cedis. That's just our tax monies alone. I have not added what they collected from churches, you know, unsuspecting Christians and others. You know, their US operations and all. Just our taxes, $58.1 million, over 339 million Ghana cedis. And all we see, if you read Bishop Dakeward Mills' resignation letter, he said his conscience will not allow him to continue to serve on the board. He has built greater churches for far less than $58.1 million. We have spent $58.1 million, and all he kept seeing is a pit, which I'm told is now described as the world's most expensive pit. There will be a full-scale inquiry. Then don't forget all the demolitions that occurred because of this National Cathedral. So there are so many aspects to this puzzle. That double identity pastor who's also keeping our 2.6 million cedis, Kusi Boateng, Kwabena Edu-Jemfi, all of those parts of this hydra-headed scandal will have a special inquiry on that. I mean, when you deceive God, you deceive the clergy, and you deceive the Ghanaian people. you must face a special consequence for that. And you can expect that the next NDC government will do just that. The manifesto also pledges that there will be forensic audits into all the scandals that have occurred. And you know it's a tall list. So you name them, whether it's the COVID-19 management scandal, SML, Ijapa, Masset, PDS, Skytrade, Pualugu, appearance fees, the ambulance spare parts, the illegal sole source contract, all of them. It's been a government, Cecilia Dapa, it's been a government of one day, one scandal. We will go into all of them. On our campaign trail, we meet many people who tell us that we are voting for you just because of accountability. And that is why our manifesto is resetting Ghana for jobs, accountability, and prosperity. So accountability is key. The others are running away from accountability because they have been neck deep in plunging us into this quagmire. We are going to demand accountability. Our manifesto also is proposing to ruthlessly end the menace of galamsey, which poses an existential threat. As we speak, Ghana Water Limited have put out statements that at this rate, in the next few years, we'll have to import water. They say the Pra River is gone. The turbidity levels are at a level that does not even allow them to treat water. So as we speak, central western region, parts of Greater Accra, water crisis. Only the NDC manifesto is pledging a ruthless combating of this menace, which poses an existential threat. Clearly, when you listen to the Western Regional Minister, you listen to MPP parliamentary candidates and MPP stalwarts, their regional chairman and all of that. They are complicit. They are neck deep. And I listened to Mr. Erastus Donko this morning, and he said that, look, it is the ruling party officials who have just made this fight worthless and useless because they are complicit. They are the real people who are behind the galamsey menace. You need a new government that will come and confront this menace because it doesn't make sense. A whole government with a national security apparatus. You have DISEX, MISEX, RECSEX, all these security councils, DCs, regional ministers, police commanders, NIB officials, national security operatives, and all of them are saying that they are helpless because of unarmed Ghanaians. Even if they are armed, can they match the billions that we approve in Parliament every year for national security? And see where we are. See where we are. Look at how our river bodies are looking. Apart from the Volta River, all our rivers are gone because of galamsey. A deceptive president who told us that he was putting his presidency on the line. Apparently, nothing was put on there. There was even no line. The NDC manifesto is also saying that we'll collaborate with the judiciary to establish a special court for persons whom adverse findings have been made against them by the Auditor General and Parliament. This has been a long-standing conundrum. What happens to those who are indicted by the Auditor General and when they appear before PAC, and PAC also affirms those audit findings? What happens? There has been a lacuna for many years, nothing really happens and they get away. If we are lucky and there are some surcharging and retrievals by the Auditor General, then we get something back. The Auditor General, the Attorney General has not been prosecuting. We are saying that we are going to work with the judiciary to establish special courts just to deal with all of these people engaged in malfeasance, engaged in just financial diversions, blatant corruption, which is really bleeding this country. The next NDC government is also saying that we'll introduce legislation to usher in a new era of government scholarships. And I am particularly excited about this. because as a former Deputy Minister for Education, working in the tertiary space, I saw how the scholarship regime was uncoordinated. So many scholarship points all over. The presidency has one, under the scholarship secretariat you have the GMPC, you have Cocoa Board, you have Get Fund, and scattered all over the place. We are saying that for the first time in this country's history, we are going to have one legislation to coordinate scholarship, bring all of them in one pool, and align them to national development. Should we be sending people out to go and do some kind of courses? I don't want to offend anybody. How does that really align with our national development? Where should we be? What are our human resource gaps in the next 5 years, the next 10 years, the next 15 years? What should we do? You go to our districts, they tell you critical shortage of various professionals, and yet our national scholarship regime does not align with those needs. But worst of all, ladies and gentlemen, the corruption which has engulfed this country has also taken over scholarships. So you have politically exposed persons, ministers, MPs, government officials, top politicians, fighting with the vulnerable, poor vulnerable people in North Tong, in Bumprugu Yoyo, in Savlugu, in Adaklu, and elsewhere. Why and elsewhere? Brilliant but needy people. Fighting with top politicians, elite, who are so endowed, who have resources. They are grabbing the scholarships for themselves. And we all know the story. One of them is out there campaigning. He didn't even show remorse. You know, he has no shame. You know.
They're running meetings.
Yes. You know, so we are saying that the new law will totally prohibit politically exposed persons. You are not allowed, you can't benefit. If you are a government minister serving under President Mahama, you, your wife, your children cannot benefit. No appointee can benefit from scholarships. We are going to have a law and it will be clear. And they think we don't know what they have introduced. For the first time in this country's history, you have Goro boys around scholarships, where people now have to pay. They come to us always. We get the petitions. We know in Parliament, the Chief Whip is here. We have been petitioned. Goro boys, if you don't pay, how can brilliant but needy people come up with 80,000, 100,000, 120,000 cities? I mean, the corruption, it has no limits. It has no conscionable levels. Even poor, vulnerable people, they are exploiting them. So we are saying that, look, enough of this madness. We are going to have a new law to regulate scholarships and make sure that the scholarships are reserved for the poor, the vulnerable, needy but brilliant, and those who are going to pursue courses that align with our strategic national development objectives. Then we are also saying that we are going to wage a ruthless war against state capture. We are going to have a new piece of legislation that will prohibit politicians from buying state assets. We have had enough. Enough is enough. Cabinet ministers wanting to buy our hotels. Some of them die in their will. You see our forests in their will, our Ramsar site. They are willing it to Wafasi forever and all of that. We are saying enough is enough. We are going to ban all politicians from buying state assets. Then this part of the legislation also excites me. The legislation is going to make it compulsory for Ghana to have a national assets register. So all our lands will be on that register. You have heard us in Parliament. It is, and fortuitously, it was the Honorable Agboja who asked that question in February 2022, more than 2.5 years ago, asking the lands minister, the state of our public lands, who they have sold to, how much they sold it for, if any are left. Up to now, it's been such a tussle. They say they don't have the data. They don't really, they are still compiling and all of that. It's a tedious exercise. Yeah. And yet, anytime they want to sell, they know where the lands are located to sell. They know where the bungalows are. to demolish them and sell the land. We have been asking Works and Housing Minister, how many bungalows do we have in Ghana? They can't tell us. Those of you who follow the proceedings of the Assurances Committee. So we are saying that enough of that. We are going to have a national asset register. Everything that belongs to Ghana belongs to the Ghanaian people, you and I. Whether hotels, forests, Ramsar sites, lands, cars, everything, it will be on that register. And then all of us can protect it. The reason why some of these politicians don't want to have this register, don't want to publish the list, is because they don't know, they don't want you to know what is a state asset, so that when they are selling them off cheaply, you will not be able to know. And for those of you who have followed our latest exposés, if you think that these policies are not important, just follow our latest exposés and see what we are losing. Did you follow the latest exposé on the cantonment's lands? The lands at La Wireless, AU Village. You saw how cheaply they sold them. Can you believe cantonment's land? They were selling a plot for just 183,000 Ghana cedis. Can you believe that? And if you see the top officials, I've published the list. Nobody can challenge that list. Kate Jemfua, she bought hers 31st August 2022. The MPP Women's Organizer. Ibrahim Mohammed Awad, then Minister of Tourism, 30th November 2020. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. N.S. Yedu Addison, 31st August 2022. Elsie Ado Awaji, Deputy Governor, 27th August 2020. Maxwell Opoku Afari, Deputy Governor, Bank of Ghana. He bought his from President Akufo-Addo, 31st August 2022. Joseph Boahi Edu, the CEO of Cocobol, bought his from the President, 30th October 2020. Dr. Janet Ampedu-Fofie, Chairperson, Presidential Emoluments Committee, also bought hers from President Akufo-Addo on 29th June 2022. Kwabna Mante Jektenyako, Board Member, Ghana Airport Company, President Akufo-Addo's appointee, bought his from President Akufo-Addo on 22nd October 2022. His Excellency Anselm Rasford Ajete Sowa, Ghana's High Commissioner to Canada, also bought his from President Akufo-Addo on 14th October 2020. Anna Asare Odro, former MPP Women's Organizer, Holland Chapter, bought hers from President Akufo-Addo on 25th February 2021. Ken Oforiatta's Enterprise Assurance. You know Ken Oforiatta doesn't miss out. Enterprise Assurance.
Insurance?
Enterprise Life Assurance. Ken Oforiatta's Enterprise Life Assurance. 15 December 2023 is when he grabbed his from his cousin. This was a family affair. Then you have Georgina Wood on the list. 50 October 2020, you have the President's appointed board chairman at SIC at the time, 14th October 2020, Kwesi Abuaje Etua. You know, this is what is going on. And if you see how much people are paying, 183,752 Ghana cedis, so less than $11,000. Meanwhile, on the market, the open market, they are telling me that it's between $700,000 and 1 million Ghana cedis for a plot. Dollars, pardon me. $700,000 to $1 million. So, if you look at the exchange rate, they are grabbing this for less than $11,000. This is pure donkomi, what they call donkomi. It's just a giveaway. And what makes matters worse, they don't advertise. Nobody hears about it. If I tell you how many MPP people have called me, top, that, so this thing, so are they still selling? How do they even sell? I mean, how come some of us, we are also in the government, we don't hear about it? You know, even some of their own members. So this is tight, you know, knit. This is insider is real kokofu. They won't pass you. You won't hear about it, you know. We are saying that enough is enough. We are going to prohibit and abolish all of these things. I'm going to run through quickly so that we can take your questions. For journalists, we are also heavy on your welfare. We are saying that we are going to repeal all anti-press freedom laws and reverse the current climate of fear, intimidation, harassment, and safety, as well as broadening the frontiers of media freedoms and development. So all of those anti-press freedom, that press freedom legislation they've been using in the name of you have caused fear and panic and others, and then you are picked up by national security. Remember what your colleagues Caleb Kuda and others went through. Manasseh Azuri had to flee this country on 2 occasions, to South Africa and to Germany. We are saying that we are going to stop that. We'll revisit the Media Development Fund so that working with GJ, the NMC, you can get financial support to enhance your career. So we are not going to be bribing journalists so that they can't carry out their work fearlessly and advance the cause of democracy as operators in the 4th estate of the realm. We will transparently have a media development fund which will seek your welfare. And we've done it before in our last government. We're going to do that again. Working with your leaders, your fraternity, will have a very transparent mechanism of assessing the fund. Then we also say we are going to reopen investigations into the major unresolved cases, including the Ayawaso West Wogon election violence, the 2020 election killings. And you've noticed that it's one of the very solid grounds that our national chairman and national executives have provided the Peace Council. 6 grounds, and top amongst them, the 2020 election killings. There ought to be justice. And we are saying that we will not forget about the families, the relatives of those 8 people who were killed. We will reopen investigations, and those who did that must face the full rigors of the law, including other unresolved murders. Your colleague Ahmed Hussein Swale, it's become a cold case. The government doesn't appear interested. We are going to reopen that. Others like Silas Wolochame, who was killed under very gory circumstances. We're going to reopen all of those killings. The next item, as I prepare to run up, we are also saying that we are going to amend the Public Procurement Act to stop the abuse of single sourcing. And we mean this. Those of you who have read the 2023 Auditor General's report on cocoa roads, you will be most scandalized. The Auditor General discovered that the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia government, who in opposition, promised, and they put out statements, tweets, Facebook posts, that the era of single sourcing, sole sourcing is coming to an end. Will you believe that it is now rather the dominant procurement method? The Auditor General discovered that 87% of cocoa road contracts were single source. Can you believe that? 87%. Only 13% were competitive. Single source, which should rather be the exception. Under this government, it is the norm. Can you believe that? And the Auditor General didn't stop there. He decided to compare values. And what he found out, he was so shocked. The Auditor General discovered that when you compare the 13% awarded competitively with the 87%, the 87% contracts were 3 times bloated, inflated, 3 times, 300%. So if we paid for 10 kilometers of road, we could actually have gotten 30 kilometers. Now, you know what makes this even worse? Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's brother, Abraham Bawumia, was at the center of this scandal. His company, Resource Access Limited, the same day they gave him 2 major single source contracts. Same day. In the morning, then they called, no, it's not enough. The family needs more. Come for another one. Can you believe that? The people who said, and at the time, President Mohammed's record was just around 20% to 25% single source. Now, Auditor General, not me say or not Sami Jemfi, it's not the NDC communication. Read the 2023 Auditor General's report. 87%. So these days, you don't hear Bawumia any longer talk about dealing with the abuse of single sourcing, because the family is at the center. He and his brothers, they are looting like there's no tomorrow, with royalties paid to Kennedy Japan. They are looting like there's no tomorrow. The NDC Manifesto also pledges to usher in a new dawn of foreign relations to enhance the image of Ghana and protect diplomatic enclaves as required under international law. We are saying that we will sanction perpetrators who demolished diplomatic properties belonging to the Nigerian High Commission and the Bulgarian Embassy. We make a renewed pledge to all diplomats in Ghana that under international law, under the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations, we shall protect their enclaves, and we shall make sure that we pursue a foreign policy that positions Ghana in the Committee of Nations as a friendly nation. We will not be, President Mahama will not be caught snitching on neighboring countries and virtually taking sides and engaging in diplomatic engagements and forepower which will undermine the stability, the security of our country. President Mahama would not engage in those diplomatic forepowers we have seen under President Akufo-Addo. And finally, and this is quite a personal one, I'm really over the moon for this one. Outline his 120-day, the only manifesto so far, with what I'll do in 120 days. So you can hold me. I'm not going to come and then forget about, right from day one, I'm going to get to work. And within 120 days, you should know which aspects of this manifesto, as President Mahama is going to focus attention on. And President Mahama says that's part of his 120-day social pledge with the Ghanaian people, the social contract with the Ghanaian people. He's going to demonstrate empathetic and responsible leadership by taking steps to probe the VRA spillage from the Akosombo Egbon dams. As we speak, it's been a year. People are still living in tents. 1,360 fellow compatriots, can you believe that? Fellow Ghanaians are living in tents. And they don't want to be accountable, they don't want to even be responsible. President Mahama is saying that within the first 120 days, that will be his priority, to move the people out of the tents, to house them, and to compensate the victims of the VRA spillage. So this is the new governance paradigm that President Mahama is pledging. And you can trust him that under President Mahama, we will have ethical, we will have incorruptible, we will have empathetic, very, very considerate leadership that will reset Ghana and transform our nation and unleash the full potential of the Ghanaian people. Thank you very, very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Son of Man had to take a little more time because of the number of policies contained under the chapter that he was dealing with. Very important issues about good governance and our fight, what our fight against corruption is going to be. I can see from your faces that you don't have questions at all, because the issues are very succinct, clear, self-explanatory. And these issues are about Ghana. Like my General Secretary indicated internally when we were launching our campaign, the upcoming election is not a choice between the NDC and the NPP. No. 10 times no. It is rather a choice between the NPP and Ghana. That is what the election is about. We are engaged in a struggle, a collective nationalistic, patriotic struggle to redeem and rescue the very soul of our nation and restore the dignity of our nation. And that is why the things our brother Okujetu spoke about are important. We are not going to retrieve all these stolen funds for nothing. We are retrieving them for development purposes. We are a country with only 4 MRI machines. Can you imagine? The state hospitals in Ghana have only 4 MRI machines. These are the machines that you will have to go through for a scan when you are engaged in an accident. And any of us can be in that position. We have just 4. Only a few days ago, the elevator at the Kolebu surgery department was broken down. I had to take our ranking member for health to demand for it to be fixed. Either than that, we were possibly going to lose lives, like we lost 14 innocent Ghanaians when the renal center was shut down over government's 4 million Ghana cedis indebtedness. So these are important issues. Can you imagine what we can do with all these billions, which a few greedy, selfish people in Akufo-Addo and Bawumia's family and friends cabal have appropriated, what it can do, the good it can do for Mother Ghana. So this is not a time to sit on the fence. This is not a time to be neutral. You cannot be neutral between good and evil. Yes, as media practitioners, you are enjoined to be impartial, but impartiality and neutrality are totally different things. So join the struggle for change. We have just 95 days more, and we are optimistic of a resounding victory for John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, and our parliamentary candidates across the length and breadth of Ghana. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week to talk about gender and social protection, agriculture, and the creative arts chapters in our manifesto. We are committed to an issue-based campaign. We don't engage in a campaign of insults at all, because we have a lot of policies to share with the Ghanaian people, and that is what we'll be doing throughout this month of September. So thank you. We'll be with you shortly before you leave. Thank you very much.
You're back here on Joy News. This is the pause, and a while ago, we brought you that live sectorial presentation by the NDC at the party's headquarters here at Adabraka in Accra. And this is what they do every week, every Tuesday. And of course, next week, they say they'll bring you another one. This is the pause. We'll take a short break and return with more on the program.